Before Scholz's visit to China, Vietnam's General Secretary Nguyen Phu Trong took the lead in visiting China. Because Scholz's visit to China has aroused higher attention, this made Vietnam's visit to China not get enough exposure. In fact, Scholz's visit to China brought far less diplomatic results than Vietnam General Secretary visit to China. Not only did Vietnam's General Secretary come to Vietnam, but he also brought the next successor. This means that Sino-Vietnamese cooperation will have strong continuity and sustainability. In addition, during this visit to China, China and Vietnam reached a major agreement. China and Vietnam may finally take a decision about the extension of the normal gauge railway track from the Chinese border to Hanoi, so that the Lao Cai-Hanoi-Ho Chi Minh Line Railway in Vietnam will be fully connected with China, and the railway cars between China and Vietnam will truly be on the same track. Vietnam has always opposed this plan before. Why did it suddenly agree? Okay, in this video, let's dive deep into this issue. In recent years, with the improvement of Sino-Vietnamese relations, the trade volume between China and Vietnam has been increasing. In 2021, the total trade volume between China and Vietnam was $230.2 billion, which is $83.5 billion more than the total Sino-Russian trade volume of $146.8 billion. In Sino-Vietnamese trade, China mainly provides investment and technology, Vietnam mainly provides labor, and the United States provides orders. China's exports to Vietnam are mainly mechanical and electrical products, while Vietnam's exports to China are mainly agricultural products, shoes, clothing, and textile products. To a certain extent, Vietnam has undertaken China's labor-intensive industries. However, Sino-Vietnamese cooperation is greater than competition, which is determined by the industrial chain of the United States, China, and Vietnam. The United States occupies the upper reaches of the industrial chain, China occupies the middle reaches of the industrial chain, and Vietnam occupies the lower reaches of the industrial chain. Vietnam is short of capital and technology, and it is very dependent on China's investment and industrial technology when undertaking industrial transfer. For a long time, Vietnam and Russia have maintained close energy and military cooperation. However, Russia is mired in the quagmire of the Russo-Ukraine War, and Vietnam can no longer obtain additional military and political support from Russia. For Vietnam at this time, it is extremely important to maintain the friendship between China and Vietnam. China is a powerful neighbor of Vietnam. In particular, China's ASEAN-oriented Belt and Road Initiative has been continuously implemented, giving Vietnam a growing sense of urgency. In other words, Vietnam has basically been surrounded by Chinese railways. In the Indochina Peninsula, the construction of the China-Thailand high-speed railway has started, the China-Laos Railway has opened, and the China-Myanmar Railway is under construction. The construction of these railways has brought huge economic benefits to Thailand, Myanmar, and Laos. In the south of Vietnam, the Jakarta-Bandung high-speed railway in Indonesia has been completed and open to traffic, and more Chinese high-speed railways will be built throughout Indonesia. If Vietnam does not keep up with the pace, Vietnam will become an outcast in the railway network of Southeast Asia. The different railway tracks between Vietnam and China have also greatly hindered the efficiency of Sino-Vietnamese freight logistics and failed to maximize the benefits of Sino-Vietnamese economic cooperation. Therefore, Vietnam's agreement to merge with the Chinese railway is of great significance. It breaks the pattern that Vietnam's railway will be isolated, and it also means that Vietnam will be more deeply integrated into the Chinese economic system, which can accelerate the construction of the Transasian Railway and lay the foundation for the subsequent construction of the China-Vietnam Railway. In this cooperation, Vietnam agreed to upgrade 2 core railway lines to connect to Chinese rail standards. One from Dali, straight to Vientiane, Laos, arriving in Bangkok, Thailand, with a branch line slanting out in the northeast, connecting Hanoi, Vietnam, directly to Nanning, Guangxi, China. The other is from Nanning, Guangxi, via Lao Cai and Hanoi, arriving at Ho Chi Minh City. Outside of Vietnam, there is another railway line starting from Kunming, first crossing Myanmar vertically, arriving in Yangon, and then building a branch line horizontally, passing through Bangkok, Thailand, Phnom Penh, Cambodia, and finally connecting to Vietnam's domestic railway line, arriving in Ho Chi Minh City. Through these 3 railway lines, China, Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam are all connected directly, forming a huge China-Indochina Peninsula railway network. For Vietnam, the Chinese railway is an irresistible temptation. After the Chinese and Vietnamese railway cars are on the same track, it can also promote border trade in Guangxi, making Guangxi gradually become a bridgehead for China's development towards ASEAN. It is actually not easy for the Vietnamese government to make this decision. However, the remarkable achievements of the railways jointly built by its neighboring countries and China have to make it reconsider. On January 30, 2022, in the second month of operation of the China-Laos Railway, it has sent more than 1 million passengers, 500,000 tons of goods, and 100,000 tons of cross-border international goods. In particular, the growth rate of passenger traffic was as high as 40%, which completely made the whole of Southeast Asia surprised. After the China-Laos Railway freight train departed on December 4, 2021, China has received a large amount of natural rubber, iron ore, charcoal and other products imported from Laos, and then some of the goods were sold to Europe through the China-Europe Railway Express. At the same time, Laos also received fresh vegetables, daily necessities, mechanical and electrical products and other products delivered from 7 provinces and cities across China, and some of these products were distributed to Southeast Asian countries such as Thailand, Myanmar, Singapore, Cambodia through highway routes. In other words, a China-Laos railway is no longer limited to southwest China and the surrounding areas of Laos, but uses China's rich railway network to bind the whole of China and many countries in Southeast Asia. Therefore, according to the report released by Kunming Customs on January 3, there are 116 China-Laos international freight trains, and the total overseas freight volume can reach 49,800 tons, with a total value of about 676 million yuan. By January 30, cross-border international cargo, the accumulative total has reached 100,000 tons, a significant increase. At present, Laos has begun to gradually highlight its advantages as a land-linked country through the China-Laos Railway. Therefore, this year, Laos expects its economic growth rate to reach 4.2% in 2022. The World Bank's forecast for Laos in 2022 is as high as 4.5%, and even the forecast for 2023 is 4.8%. Before the opening of the China-Laos Railway, the International Monetary Fund estimated that the economic growth rate of Laos would be only 3% in 2022, and the actual economic growth rate of Laos in 2021 would only be 3%. So on February 4 this year, the World Bank official in Laos said, Laos' economy will continue to improve, because Laos' exports and transportation are constantly developing. Therefore, the macroeconomic goal of Laos in 2022 is to increase the per capita income of Laos from $2,004 in 2021 to $2,358, an increase of $350. Seeing the potential economic value brought by a railway, Laos' neighbor, Thailand, was completely anxious and began to accelerate the construction of the China-Thailand Railway. In order to meet the increased freight volume between Laos and Thailand after the opening of the China-Laos high-speed rail, the Thai Ministry of Communications has optimized the logistics line for land freight in advance, and asked the Thai National Highway Department to set up a temporary cargo distribution point in advance. In the face of the progress of railways in neighboring countries, I think this is why Vietnam will agree to merge with China's railways. Well, thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions, just leave them in the comments section. We'll come back as soon as possible and check them, and then we'll give feedback. See you next time.